Here we go. Right. Everybody is in. Welcome, welcome. Friday. It's Friday. Right. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody is well. We've obviously had a very, very busy week. One thing I wanted to point out, this just sums up this week. Look at yields, right? You can see the whole history of it, all right? This is how if we go on like a 15-minute, there is no price action like we have had this morning, and I think this is just sums up um, what we've been kind of seeing here. 2 hour, what a horrible candle, horrible, horrible. But I think it really comes to fruition in 5 minutes. The 5 minute time frame. This is like a crypto meme coin. This is just crazy. Anyway, helped us out. All right, capitalizing. I'm still not overly confident that yields are not going to stop trending, but we're going to wait and see what happens here. So yeah, let's wait and see. Right, dollar absolutely crushing yesterday. We come out at the right time, so well done to everyone. We caught the smallest of moves, but I just wasn't confident. So obviously that's why I came out, and then obviously it absolutely tanked. Now it's all over the place. We're obviously back in what we would call a downtrend. All right. So, we've always got to identify what the downtrend is. Now, until this move here happened, so until kind of, yeah, until like 2 o'clock yesterday, probably this candle here. So this one in the evening, trend has now changed. All right, it's looking more and more likely that we are going to come down and tap this area at least one more time. All right, you can see this. You've you've always got to map out your trend, but obviously remember it doesn't matter how you're trading, you're always gonna get caught. All right, because trends have to change, and obviously if you're going with trend, then yeah, it's difficult. So one of the things I liked about this morning was one, we were rejecting a key level where we've not really been in that position recently. We've been kind of in no man's land. Last obviously few kind of mornings here, we've been in this kind of area here where it's not been as clean. But obviously, when we kind of line up, we're looking at first thing in the morning. We've already had one rejection from around an area. You just know that there is more chance of this 99 level being tapped than there is obviously of 100. So I actually think 100 isn't going to get hit. I would go probably 70%, 30% we're going to hit. So 70% we're going to hit 99, 30% we're going to come and break above 99 500. Yields obviously are the major factor here. They don't play into they don't normally come into consideration as much as what they have. We've obviously got oil back down 1% today. I do think this has obviously got a lot more room to go higher. It seems to be moving a lot over the weekend. So obviously when markets open, more action seems to be happening at the weekends. So yeah, we'll wait and see obviously what happens when markets open Monday. So looking into what we've got today, not a lot. We've got obviously your Euro, summit. We've got not a lot. We obviously got some retail sales for CAD, but nothing which is going to affect our pairs. So what we have to remember, and obviously it's going to be a bit of an unusual one today, because obviously the only thing that I think might potentially pump is gold this afternoon. That's why I've stayed out of it. I really really like this. This is my top kind of setup. But moving into the US, I'm expecting gold to kind of pump. So what would be my ideal scenario here? Would be for gold to come down into this area here. Yep, that would be brilliant. All right. But then I'm expecting anyone who is in a sell from say Monday, I mean brilliantly if you'd have held, I feel like there will be some profits being taken here because obviously we know there is always a danger if escalation of war happens, then obviously gold is going to be a safe haven. All right, we only need a major kind of probably not Israel, but probably a US, site being hit, something damaging the US, and we should see gold pump. But what we're also going to see is whoever's holding, it's a bit dangerous to keep holding. Yeah. All right. It is a bit dangerous. So I am imagining that there's going to be some profits being taken off the table this afternoon, and obviously that's why I was hoping for a bit more of an earlier pump up and then a release down. We've obviously not had that. I know it's not quite triggered yet, but obviously I'm going to stay away from gold because I do think this afternoon we should see at least I'm hoping the 5,000 level here. I mean, this could be a very, very eager call, but just purely not because it's supposed to be there, not because anything's guiding it there, because I know what I would do if I was in a gold sell from here. I would, and they've not taken profits. I don't care, what anyone says. Profits have not been taken here, so I would imagine price will be driven down potentially throughout London, and then profits will be taken off the table and should drive it back up around that 5,000 level. That would be what I would be expecting. So that'll be one thing. Um, Going through some of the other pairs that we've got, GBP USD, brilliant. I'm still holding. If I get mine up here, I'm still holding this. Currently, almost at my daily target. I might look to come out, but obviously I'm at very very how. I mean, this was perfect. This is what we've been doing so well. Capitalizing on London Open, understanding structure, and just wow. So yeah, that's obviously couldn't have planned this any better if we'd have tried. Euro 2, little dip down into our zone. Obviously, our entry was at 6:30. So if you imagine, we've just had this little bit of drawdown here and popped up. Very, very, nice here. Hoping for Euro to pump up, but obviously it's all about yields, and I think the more this drops, then obviously yes, naturally it's going to take everything up. So the reason I sold gold is because it's so oversold. It's everything is overextended. All right. So, but obviously I didn't. I've changed my mind. And I don't like it, and obviously that's why I'd said stay out of it. Aussies are, another one, very, very messy. If you look at the price action on, say, pound, you can see clear structure here, yeah? Clear structure. Oh, I've done it again. Clear structure. All right. We've made, lower high, lower, higher low, higher high, yeah. Coming back in, yeah, yes, there was a chance, probably even if it came down into these areas, but I think this 200 EMA now it's broken is gonna hold. I'm expecting these levels here. Just got a lot of resistance here where it is right now, as you can see that it's coming into. So I might be tempted to close this out pretty, snappy. So yeah, and Euro 2, was obviously hoping we were going to at least come up. You can see here again the trend of Euro here, new lower, higher low. Sorry, my words are all coming out wrong. Higher high. So we've got to go with trend. And obviously, this is one thing that's been relatively well, very, very messy this week, which has caught us out. Like I said, every strategy is going to have times of markets where it works really, really well. And then it's going to have other times of markets where it's not going to work so well. But you just got to pick a strategy that works well more times than it doesn't work well. And then there is no point chopping and changing. You just got to swallow it, ride the wind, potentially risk a bit less. It is what it is, and unfortunately, we're in the worst industry because to find out that markets aren't quite lining up, we've got to lose money, which hurts. So yeah, but like I'd said, compared to obviously pound and euro, Aussie's kind of stuck. You can see here, yeah, yes, we've obviously had a few, moves here, but we're kind of stuck in a range here. Yeah, kind of stuck here where it's not really doing anything. So that's why I wasn't really confident to enter it. Didn't look, look great. You can see here. I mean, if you were to go with trend on Aussie, you would be potentially looking at, well, yeah, there's nothing, no structure. It looks, if anything, like it's being squeezed. So if we were to draw a line here. And if we were to draw a line here, it looks like price is being squeezed, and it's very confusing here. So that is obviously, one thing we've got to remember. Identify price is being squeezed, and it's just a bit of an uncomfortable place, really. What I'm kind of anticipating is the price to come down here, and then we'll get an explosion either this way or this way. That would be the technical term to kind of have a look at it. But obviously, I just thought it was worth, staying out of it. And then obviously we've got USDJPY. I just wanted to give this one a little bit of space. We didn't have much, support. If you look where it's turning, probably the earliest we could have entered, I would have wanted to enter would have been here. We're kind of holding around this area, which there's not a lot there. So I wanted to err a bit on the, safer side because obviously USDJPY and Aussie haven't been the kindest to us. But if you look at yen overall, it's relatively strong, if not the strongest pair or the strongest currency this morning. But yeah, we've obviously got a no, no, sorry. Weakest currency this morning. So we've obviously got to be aware of that too. That's why I wanted it to breathe and and then continue to the downside here. So sorry, I've been up since about 5:30 and I'm on coffee number three. So yeah, my brain is working a lot quicker than what my mouth is, which yeah, it normally does that anyway, if I'm honest. But yeah, right. Does anyone have any questions? Anyone have any questions? Good morning, Thomas. But does anyone have any questions at all? Happy to answer. Otherwise, we'll get to it, get cracking. Really, really good start. Really, really happy. Look at this. Where are we now? Right, that is, if I'm honest with you, that's my daily or my session target hit. First one this week, which is nice. Um, so, very, very smooth, very, very easy. This is how we obviously wanted to trade. I'm actually still considering just holding this a little bit more because it's yields. Um, and obviously, one thing that I've been looking into quite a bit this week, and obviously, it's not that I change, strategies, but I like to look into, certain things. So if we look at how we've had if we look at like London, it's tend to have moved in one direction, and for example, if we've caught London early, if we break Asia, all right, so this is, just obviously something that I've been looking into, trying to, what I like to do is to understand, like why things aren't particularly going, right. But yes, if we can cleanly break Asia, especially on this 2 hour, hourly, we're looking like we're going to break, but on the 2 hour, we would be clean. Then we would expect London to continue higher because that's what it's been doing this week. London open, London close, London open, London close. It's been continuing, and New York's been a little bit all over the place. So London has been key, and yes, we've not been capitalizing on it. So it's little things like that. I don't tweak strategy, but I do like to have a look at it for anyone who wants that indicator. I've been looking through a few. It's trading sessions, Sona Lab, and it just helps you. Um, yeah, on regards to obviously the sessions. Richard, did you double your lot size on pound and euro? No, still same. 40 lots I enter on currencies and 4 lots on gold. So no, and I've got euro running at 7.2k and pound running at about 14.2k. So yeah, I'm probably going to look to close because I am happy. Targets hit, goals achieved. So I can obviously go out and take the dog for a walk. But one other thing that I'm going to do for everyone is because I want everyone to understand every strategy. And I've said this in a few one-to-ones that if you want to master, something, then you got to understand everything. I want you guys to understand everything. So there'll be bits that you want to implement, bits you might add in. There might be strategies where just with your eyes and your brain, it just clicks. So a bit like what I did yesterday, where I put the New York kill zone in. I'm going to do lots like that. So yeah. Um, yeah. Marius, I've blown my account. 2 days of loss using wrong lots. Now I'm at the market. It's frustrating. Do you know what? What I like to, say is it's not until you lose, and that's when you learn the biggest kind of, lesson. Unfortunately, the industry we're in, the industry that you've all chosen to come into, when it's not going well, it really hurts. It's not like, you're playing football and fall over, or it's not like you're, working in a say you're an architect, you get the drawing slightly wrong, you can go back, redraw it, or whoever's built it wrong can rebuild it. We can rebuild. It's just it really hurts. All right. So I think I think what you've got to do is identify, right, how can I stop this happening. And I think for everyone, I know it's a horrible lesson. I wish you guys didn't have had or haven't have had to have learnt it this week. But I think everyone should have learnt the lesson of, right, I need to have a max loss regardless where my stops are, or I've got to reduce risk massively. So that'll be one of the lessons. Remember, with the basket it works really really well, but obviously we're not taking individual trades, and obviously setting up, we're collectively trading. All right. So what you've got to do is, unfortunately, there will be days where you've got to have that, max loss. Right, you know what? My ultimate worst is gonna take me 3 days to get it back. All right. And obviously that's what your ultimate worst is. I mean, I've even stretched mine this week. I'm going to have I'm probably going to end up in a little bit of a, loss this week. Nothing too, major, but I am going to be in, a bit of loss this week. So even me, I've stretched it a bit, but obviously I want everyone to live by the premises that, what, Monday, Tuesday, my max loss needs to be reduced, because my goal is not every day. Yes, we've got targets. You should always have those. But at the end of each week, I want to at least do my best to give me a chance to be a worst case break even, or a worst case one day, down, even if I start off, loss, you know? So that's kind of where we need to be. It's a massive lesson in trading. It hurts everyone. It really hurts everyone. I've been, yeah, I mean, you're probably, seen, I haven't even been as active this week because, I don't like getting it wrong, and so I think yeah, it is. But like I'd said, I've been through it so many times. I've been doing this at obviously a high, level for probably over 5 years, 6 years, and these times will always happen. All right, we just got to make sure they don't happen often. So that is our goal. But we're back on a good, run. Everyone should be in profit this morning. If you took euro, if you took pound, you should have hit your targets. Everyone should be in profits. So, show me some, love. Send me obviously how you've done there this morning. And remember, I'm always there. I'm really, really good. I get back to everyone with, voice notes or anything. So make sure you message me with any queries. And so, yeah, have a great day, everyone. And yeah, let's make sure we do the same thing this afternoon. Let's go.